We get messages daily asking us to cover a variety of martial arts, which we are very pleased to see, and we are taking notes of all of them so that we can hopefully one day cover them all. Now, we're also trying to make an effort to deliver art history videos more often and branch out to a variety of arts. As of the release of this video, we currently have art history playlists set up for karate, the Chinese arts, Kempo, and the Korean arts. Now, in a recent episode, we talked about some Kempo systems that stem from Hawaii, and we asked if there was any interest in looking at Polynesian arts. The response was overwhelmingly positive, so today we're going to set up a quick introduction to what I hope will become a growing list of Polynesian martial arts. I also want to thank all of you guys. You guys are the best viewers on YouTube, and you have helped us come this far, but we still need some more help. We are asking you to join us on Patreon. As this channel grows, we can commit more time and production resources to produce the videos that you guys are asking for on a daily basis. So right now, our priority is to double or even triple the amount of art history videos that we bring you, and I hope you've noticed our recent efforts to deliver them more often. Our other goal is to set up proper live streaming with guests and interviews. So please visit our Patreon page where you can get access to a rapidly growing collection of exclusive content and bring this dojo that you all built with us to the next exciting phase. We have a lot planned for 2020. Thank you all so much. The unfortunate thing about the Polynesian martial arts, which includes islands such as Hawaii, Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, and more, is that they have an ancient history that is sadly going to remain that way. A lot of arts and training practices have been lost to time, either because they were either trained or taught by small tribes, or they were kept secret within the family, or they weren't recorded down and only taught in person, or they were lost when other civilizations came to Polynesia. There's a variety of reasons. So we are talking about a region that has had a long history of conflict and violence between islands, and they trained accordingly. Now, with all that being said, while much of the history has fallen wayside, there are still several standout arts that we can talk about. So let's go through a quick list to set them up now, and then we'll circle back later in the future episodes to take a much deeper, more detailed dive into these very distinctive and unique methods of combat. Now, Kempo, or Kempo, depending on which way you prefer, is one of the biggest self-defense influences to come to the United States from Hawaii. There are many styles of Kempo that trace back to Chinese roots and filter through Hawaiian practitioners, and methods then spread from there. Now, we have covered Kempo extensively on this channel, and if you've not seen those episodes, I highly recommend doing so because that does come up a lot, and I have included those links in the description below. So we have Ed Parker's American Kempo, which is traced back through William K.S. Chow and James Matosi, who brought his family's art to Hawaii. Now, Ed Parker's American Kempo is one of the largest and most common styles of Kempo in the United States, and it itself has been broken off to countless offshoots and evolutions. It truly is a melting pot of the martial arts at this point. We also have a variety of systems under the name Hawaiian Kempo, with one of the most notable being the Hawaiian Kempo system taught at the Pit by John Hackelman. Now, John Hackelman has trained many fighters for the MMA and cage fighting, including Chuck Liddell. His system is focused on hard competition and building tough and durable fighters. So definitely check out the Kempo episodes for more detailed history. Now, Kajukenbo is another art that we touched upon previously, but it definitely fits on this list because it originated in Hawaii. Kajukenbo is actually a hybrid art established officially in 1947 on the island of Oahu. Now, the art is a blend of several different martial arts brought together by several founders, most notably Adriano Imperato. The name Kajukenbo is a portmanteau of various arts used to combine it. Ka is for karate, Ju is for judo and jujitsu, Ken is for kenpo, and Bo is for boxing. Imperato was also a student of William K.S. Chow's art of Kara-Ho Kempo, so he contributed Kempo and Eskrima into the mix. Joseph Hoke brought judo, Frank Ordonez with Danzan-Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, which also has Hawaiian roots, Peter Young Yil Chu with Tang Sudo, boxing and Shotokan karate, and Clarence Change with Chin Na, a form of Chinese joint locking. Now, what I really like about Kajukenbo is that it places importance on becoming a well-rounded fighter. They incorporate striking, stand-up fighting, throwing, and grappling, and they put it all together. Now, I'm a firm believer that the person should blend arts to become a complete martial artist because no individual art is completely perfect in its own, and I really like that Kajukenbo adopts this philosophy. Now, it has also continued to evolve and adapt to keep the material that works and discard what doesn't. Now, even though Kajukenbo is a hybrid of arts that they're not all Polynesian, it does hold a firm foundation in the modern Hawaiian training. Now, as I said in the beginning, we will be circling back to these individual arts because there's no way to do them justice all in one video just like this. Now, I just mentioned Danzan-Ryu Jiu-Jitsu as one of the arts in the Kajukenbo blend, and it's worth an honorary mention on this list. Danzan-ryu is a form of jiu-jitsu and grappling system founded in 1925 by Seishiro Okazaki. Now, much like a Jukenbo, Danzan-ryu isn't entirely Hawaiian. Okazaki was born in Fukushima, Japan in 1890, and at the age of 16 immigrated to Hawaii. Now, Okazaki also suffered from tuberculosis, and he sought to find a way to relieve the suffering. Now, at the time, he began to train in the art of Yoshin-ryu Jiu-Jitsu, and after a while, he found that his condition seemingly had gone into remission after his symptoms subsided. Now, this encouraged him to continue training and to see the martial arts as not only a method of combat, but also in pursuit of health and well-being. He went on to study a variety of arts, including Kodokan Judo, Eskrima, boxing, Shorin-ryu, and even Lua, an ancient Hawaiian art which is also focused on bone breaking. And we're going to get back to that one in a few minutes. Okazaki processed and analyzed everything he learned, and eventually formulated his own system that he named Danzan-ryu. The name was to honor one of his Chinese instructors, as in Chinese the name for Hawaii is Tanshan, but when converted to Japanese, the kanji reads as Danzan, which in Japan means Sandalwood Mountain. So thus we have the art of Danzan-ryu Jiu-Jitsu. Now, Jiu-Jitsu isn't the only outside influence that came to Polynesia. Boxing and kickboxing were, and still are, very popular on the island of Tonga. Now, I'm not going to go into this one just now because as I was researching the topic, I found there is some good history there, and I want to familiarize myself with it more before I present anything about it. But in any case, you can find a lot of videos of Tongan boxers on YouTube, and they are finding evidence that even the ancient tribes of Tonga took up the sport many, many, many years ago. Now going back to Lua. Lua is an interesting one, and it was a full art developed and taught in the ancient kingdom of Hawaii. The art's actual name is Kapo Kuia Lua, but it's usually referred to as just Lua for simplicity. The name translates to 2 hits, or actually the Kuia Lua part does, with Kapu translated to forbidden, so basically forbidden 2 hits. It is a form of grappling in which the primary focus of techniques are to break the bones. Many arts go for lethal blows, strikes, and submissions, but Lua's intention was to manipulate joints to the point of destroying them and immobilizing your attacker. It wasn't always to kill them, but rather stopping the attack in a brutal way that prevented them from continuing the attack now or even later, assuming they were able to heal enough to do so. Lua utilizes many different tactics other than just grappling and destroying joints. They also studied pressure points, strikes, throws, and even weapons, including firearms as they became available in modern times. Lua wasn't a sport, and it wasn't for casual defense. It was a very effective system of combat in a turbulent time that saw islanders fighting against islanders. Many of the Polynesian islands were isolated from the rest of the world, and some arts developed within their own realm without the influence from other outside global arts. Now, there was also a sense of pride and privilege with the instruction of Lua. It was restricted for nobility, and King Kamehameha restricted its training to select honor guards, and it was forbidden to be taught outside of that. Now, of course, over time, restrictions slowly lifted, and elements of Lua can be found in other arts, such as Danzan-ryu Jiu-Jitsu. Other unique aspects of the art are the training methods, such as training in the surf, learning how to catch spears, and the concept of mana, or life force. Now, this can be compared to the Chinese concept of qi. Lua warriors also utilized unique weaponry, many of which had to be creative because what they had at their disposal, which was mainly wood. Some of the distinct weapons are the hoe, or canoe paddle, a variety of spears and staffs, clubs, and also they had an affinity for making weapons that implemented shark teeth. Yes, shark teeth, and these weapons are no joke. They didn't have the same access to metal and bladed weapons that other countries did, so they had to get creative, and they embedded shark teeth into a variety of weapons. You could usually find them along the edge of tips of spears or along the edges of clubs and wooden daggers. Now, weapons like this did not cut the same as metal, and they weren't really effective against armor, but remember, these were tribes that fought, and they often wore very little clothing and protection, so these weapons were designed to swing and strike into the body and then tear away flesh, creating horrific wounds. This is very similar to the Aztec weapon of the Makuit, which used sharpened obsidian instead of shark teeth. Now, we covered that weapon in the 5 Coolest Swords episode, so go definitely check that one out. They even have a version of brass knuckles with a name I'm not going to attempt, but it's basically wooden brass knuckles with shark teeth. You use it to punch people with shark teeth. That's badass. The Samoan art of Lima Lama is an interesting study as it is teeming with Polynesian culture. The founder, who went by the name of Tino, and once again I'm not going to attempt to butcher his name right now, he created the art in the 1950s after growing up learning Polynesian fighting and dance movements from his father and his uncle. Also, after studying Aikido, Shaolin Kung Fu, Hung Gar, boxing, and Judo, Tino developed his own fighting techniques and blended them with the movements. He was also a decorated soldier with the United States Marines in the Korean War, and he taught hand-to-hand combat. Now the name Lima Lama is a combination of the Samoan words for 5 and understanding, and he referred to the name of the system to mean hand of wisdom. Now at an initial glance, Lima Lama does tend to resemble Kempo a bit, with a lot of similar movements and self-defense combinations. Ed Parker did draw a lot of influence from a variety of arts, and Lima Lama was certainly one of them. Now however, there are a few distinct differences, namely that Lima Lama appears to incorporate more kicking. It feels like if Kempo and Taekwondo were blended together. The art also incorporates stick fighting, pressure points, joint locks, heavy kicks, palm strikes, and stand-up grappling. Also interestingly enough, even though Lima Lama is Samoan, it has found extreme popularity in Mexico, where schools are very common. Now we venture to New Zealand, which is the home of the Maori. The Maori are indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand, and their culture and practices are well respected and recognized. They are also known for their fierce fighting skills. As we talked about before, the Polynesian islands were rife with inter-island fighting and conflict, so just like other cultures, they took their combat seriously. They instilled discipline and concepts into children at a young age, such as waking them up suddenly in the middle of the night and randomly striking them with a stick to teach them reflexes and observations. Their games were structured around skills that they would be able to utilize in combat, such as running, jumping, dodging, wrestling, boxing, and other drills to sharpen their senses and reaction time. And with these skills, they brought to us the martial arts weapon system of Mau Rakau. The name translates to two-barrel weapon, and it utilizes many unique and traditional weapons of the Maori. One of the most prominent is the Ta'iaha, which is a close combat staff weapon. It is often made from wood or whalebone, and it consists of a pointed end used for stabbing and a long flat bladed end which is used for striking and parrying. Mau Rakau also incorporates other weapons, many of which are the variations of flat wooded bladed weapons and clubs. Now, I find the Polynesian arts fascinating. They are very different than many arts found around the world, and their isolation helped develop a very unique flavor to their fighting. They are also warriors with a very large sense of pride and honor, and they were willing to fight and die for their people. Now, even though their weapons were primitive, they trained extensively, and they were able to hold off invaders for quite some time, and given that context, it's incredibly impressive. Many of their cultures also implemented intimidation and psychological warfare, with uses of ritual dances, such as the haka, and exaggerated facial painting, expressions, tattoos, movements, and a larger-than-life presence. So I hope you enjoyed this quick introduction to Polynesian martial arts. I am really excited to break these down further and explore them at a closer level. And if you guys enjoyed this list and episodes to come, then we may eventually modify the playlist to also branch out and include Micronesia and the Philippines. Thank you so much for watching, and as we wrap up the new year, we will continue to release weekly videos without the break that we had last year. So please like, subscribe, and please be sure to visit us on Patreon and join us in the dojo. Thank you all so much, and we wish you all a very happy holiday season.